Across the world, people have captured terrifying images of werewolves, dogmen, and humanoid creatures appearing in the most unexpected places. Glowing eyes, monstrous faces, and gigantic bodies. Some creatures vanished, others were captured, and many are still out there, ready to haunt your nightmares. Captured by a low-quality CCTV security camera, this unsettling footage shows a woman sitting alone on her porch late at night when a large, werewolf-like creature suddenly comes charging toward her from the darkness. The moment she notices it, she lets out a terrified scream as the creature slows down, growling while continuing to approach. In a desperate act of self-defense, she removes her shoe and throws it directly at the figure, causing the creature to abruptly retreat and vanish back into the shadows. Clearly shaken, the woman immediately runs inside her house, leaving viewers to question what exactly was lurking just beyond the reach of the camera. This disturbing security camera footage captured inside a church in Brazil late at night shows a dimly lit interior with most of the lights turned low. From the shadows, a strange humanoid figure with an unnaturally thin frame and dark skin tone suddenly darts into view, moving quickly while keeping a low, cautious posture. Next, it begins late at night when a girl walked near the forest searching for her missing dog. Instead, she encountered a frightening creature. Its face looked like a wolf with a fierce expression and eyes glowing in the dark. The creature was enormous and clearly dangerous. The girl screamed in fear and managed to escape by mere seconds. The fact that she got so close showed that she had stepped directly into the monster's territory. Her missing dog made everything even darker. Either the werewolf had taken it, or the girl had stumbled upon its most recent prey. In a quiet neighborhood, a couple started noticing strange things happening at night. Their garbage cans were always knocked over, and at first they blamed raccoons, but they soon realized something was wrong. They set up an old camera outside to see what was going on. What they saw shocked them. It was not a raccoon, much less a bear. The footage showed a tall creature with large ears and a humanoid body wearing tattered clothes. As the days passed, the couple also noticed their neighbor acting strangely, with an empty stare, odd behavior, and mysterious disappearances before sunrise. Then, one morning, they saw him again with his clothes completely torn. That was when they understood. He was not just a neighbor, he was a werewolf. The couple packed their bags immediately, realizing that some neighbors should never be known too closely. Another story tells of a man who always suspected that his neighbor was not entirely human. One night, he decided to secretly record him. The neighbor left his house as usual, but after stepping behind some bushes, he simply did not return. In his place, a sinister werewolf emerged and went back inside the house. The recording showed a fast and violent transformation, confirming his worst fears. A werewolf lived right next door. After that, he and anyone who saw the video could never again ignore what truly lived there. In Sialkot, Pakistan in 2021, doctors and staff were shocked when a patient arrived with matted fur, sharp teeth, and a face resembling a wolf. Locals said that he had been found in a vulnerable state. Many began whispering about werewolves from local folklore, while scientists suggested it could be a rare genetic mutation, blurring the line between human and beast. The creature was taken to an undisclosed location, and no other information has been released since. In California, a driver had an unexpected roadside encounter, a gigantic wolf. These wolves are already known as some of the largest in nature, reaching nearly 1 meter tall and weighing up to 80 kilograms. But this one seemed even larger, far beyond normal. The driver recorded everything from inside his car. The animal showed no fear, simply standing there and watching him as if waiting for the right moment. The driver had no choice but to turn around, sensing that something dark might lie ahead. This eerie CCTV-style footage opens on a man standing with his back turned, seemingly unaware of what is about to unfold. The twist was the way things were about to change very fast. He seemingly transforms into a werewolf. He walks up to the dog, now in a transformed way, looking creepy and very unsettling.
Stay. Stay.
Deeper in the forest, a short video showed a massive figure moving between the trees. The dark silhouette looked unreal, with a broad chest, gigantic arms, and a long snout reflecting light like metal. Judging by its size, it could easily weigh nearly 500 kilograms. The person filming stayed completely silent, afraid to move. The heavy steps and monstrous presence made it clear that this was no ordinary animal, perhaps a werewolf or the legendary Dogman, once again captured on camera. A man decided to explore an abandoned house hidden deep in the woods. Filming everything, he walked around the structure until he approached one of the windows. That was when he froze. On the other side of the glass, a deformed face stared back at him. Burned skin, hollow eyes, and a mouth twisted unnaturally. Terrified, he ran immediately. Many believe it was a demon still haunting the house, protecting it from anyone brave enough to approach. A stalker in the backyard. On a quiet night in Brazil, a man felt something was outside in his yard. Scared, he grabbed his phone to record. When he pointed the camera into the darkness, he saw something huge. It had a long snout, massive ears, and sharp teeth, nothing like any animal he knew. Its body looked like a mix between a dog and a human. For a few tense seconds, he could only stare, unsure if he was facing a werewolf or a wild animal dangerously close to his house. Red-eyed demon. In an Indonesian village, a resident saw what appeared to be an owl resting on a high branch, but upon looking closer, he noticed the eyes glowing red and the creature hiding its face. It was not a bird. Terror struck when he realized what it was, a genderworo, the frightening entity from Javanese folklore, known for disguising itself and fooling people. Since that day, the village has never been the same. Everyone remains alert, fearing the creature's return. Forest predator. A young man was camping in the woods when his phone captured something disturbing. An animal with sharp teeth and frightening howls appeared only a few steps away. Its glowing eyes stared directly at him. The recording ended abruptly, and he was never seen again. Investigators found the video on his phone. The revelation was shocking. It was a werewolf, and it had taken the boy. Anyone camping in the forest should be cautious because it watches, waits, and may be closer than it seems. Deep in the forest, a lost hiker encountered something straight out of a nightmare. A dark beast covered in fur with a red, deformed face stared directly at him. The man tried to scare it off with a piece of wood, but the creature did not react, did not blink, did not step back. It only stared. The closer he got, the more his body froze in fear. It seemed like a demonic entity, a guardian of the forest, or perhaps a creature we do not yet know. Whatever it was, he was lucky to escape alive. Most are not so fortunate. Wild chase. A man was walking through the forest when he saw a dark creature lying on the ground. His dog began barking, and the creature immediately charged at him with ferocity. At first glance, it looked like a wolf, but it was enormous, far larger than any he had ever seen. Its movements were fast and frantic, displaying strength and aggression. Some say it was a colossal wolf. Others claimed it was a quadrupedal version of a dogman. Whatever it was, being that close made one thing clear. There are creatures in the forest much bigger, faster, and deadlier than we imagine. Mystery of the wolf. A forest ranger discovered what seemed to be a creature taken straight from a myth, a massive wolf, much larger than normal. Researchers sent the animal's body to a lab. At first, it appeared to be a common African wolf, but the scientists noticed something strange. Teeth like no other known species, only sharp incisors, no molars, all perfectly clean. Then came the revelation. It was not an African wolf. It was a European wolf, completely outside its natural habitat. How a European wolf ended up in Africa remains a mystery. It seemed as if the creature had traveled an impossible distance.
Oh my God! Get away! Go! Oh God! Oh my God! Get away! Go! Oh God!
If you enjoyed this story, leave a like. It helps me a lot and motivates me to bring more content like this. Today's video brings terrifying encounters that went horribly wrong, ranging from breathtaking situations to real ghosts caught on camera and chilling entities that should never have been recorded. We have gathered some of the most disturbing encounters that people barely managed to survive. Recently, a strange incident happened to a man in Belize, Indonesia. He was on a date when suddenly his girlfriend began acting very strangely. She started banging her fork on the plate and the table while her eyes rolled back in a frightening way. It looked like she was possessed by a demon. The shock was even greater because they had been together for 3 years and she had never behaved like this before. Later, he showed her the video, but the young woman did not remember absolutely anything about what had happened. What do you think happened to her, and why do you think she couldn't remember anything afterward? In this unsettling clip, a motionless human-shaped figure appears at the front door of a family's home in the dead of night. Wrapped head to toe and standing unnaturally still, the figure lingered for several moments, leaving the family convinced it was the spirit of a deceased relative returning from the grave. As fear escalated, the situation took a violent turn when the figure began forcing its way inside, eventually breaking down the door and entering the house. Panicked, the family fled the scene, abandoning the home entirely. What happened after that remains unknown, with no further footage or testimony ever surfacing, leaving this encounter shrouded in mystery and unresolved dread. Midnight apparition. In Moscow, Russia, a man was about to go back to sleep when he experienced something truly chilling. As he left the bathroom, he saw a sinister black creature with no visible face or body. It was just a kind of dark smoke that followed him. Desperate, he ran to the bedroom while recording everything. The shadowy figure continued to chase him until, after he used a crucifix, it disappeared a few minutes later. The fear was so intense that he couldn't sleep the entire night. The Candle Woman. 2 friends were returning home at midnight somewhere in Utah when they came across something strange. A woman was sitting inside a car wearing a white dress with messy blonde hair. Frightened but curious, they started recording. Then something even more bizarre happened. She lit a candle and the flame illuminated her face in an even more terrifying way. When the video was shared online, many suggested that she was practicing witchcraft. In October 2025, a man in Sakaka, Saudi Arabia, went through an inexplicable episode. He had already been experiencing paranormal activity in his house for several days when he saw a flame of fire rise toward the ceiling. Then the fire came down and remained on the floor for some time. Terrified, the man began reciting religious verses. Suddenly, the door slammed shut on its own and shortly after opened again. He realized that there was something supernatural that did not want him living there. The next day, he moved to another place. The Witch. A man was watching a horror movie at night when he heard a loud noise, as if something had fallen in another room. He turned on the camera and grabbed a flashlight to investigate, but was horrified to see a terrifying figure standing inside the bedroom, staring at him. It had black lips, glowing white eyes, and messy hair, resembling a witch straight out of a horror movie. It was never clear whether it was truly something supernatural or just a cruel prank by a sibling. The Shadow Ghost. This video drew a lot of attention online. It shows a man stopped on his motorcycle on a street near Shaniwar Waterfort in Pune while waiting for a friend. Suddenly, a dark and shadowy figure approached him. It looked like a man walking toward him, but it was only a shadow. Suddenly, the shadow retreated. The fright was so intense that he abandoned the motorcycle and ran away. When his friend arrived, he was surprised not to find him there and decided to call him. Later, when they reviewed the footage, they asked residents of the area if they had experienced something similar.
Only one elderly man who had lived there for 10 years said that at that exact spot, someone had lost their life 8 years earlier. Skinwalker. You will be terrified when you see this video. A group of explorers was investigating an abandoned place on the outskirts of Scotland when they captured something threatening. They saw a strange creature with a pale, unfamiliar face, large nostrils, and no ears, lurking behind a building. It could have been a skinwalker or even an alien. They turned on their cameras and began recording the creature. Suddenly, it charged at them to attack. They barely managed to escape from the place without even looking back. Internet users commented that it was probably neither an alien nor a skinwalker, since the creature was wearing human shoes. The Furious Witch. In 2015, a frightening incident was recorded by a camera in California. A woman was sleeping peacefully when at midnight she heard loud knocking at the door. She jumped out of bed to see who it was and was terrified. Outside was a strange and unknown figure with a frightening voice, long nails, and ghostly facial features. Suddenly, the creature began banging on the door furiously, and the woman ran back to the bedroom. Then she called the police, but by the time officers arrived, it was too late. The figure had disappeared, leaving her completely in shock. The Haunted Car. A few months ago, a man parked his car in front of his house. Suddenly, the vehicle began honking on its own. He ran outside to check, without imagining that something was waiting for him inside the car. The man was terrified to see a frightening creature sitting inside the vehicle. Even with the dark windows, it was possible to see it. It had glowing, sinister eyes. To his surprise, when he opened the door, there was absolutely nothing there. Perhaps it was a witch waiting for him to take her for a long ride. Or perhaps it was just a trick. Whatever it was, draw your own conclusions. Ghostly apparition. A few days ago, a strange moment was captured by a shopkeeper in Goa, India. He was paralyzed when he saw a smoky, headless figure standing in the middle of the road. He quickly pulled out his phone to record before it disappeared. Then something even more frightening happened. A motorcyclist passed through the figure, which simply vanished into the air as if it had never been there. Whatever it was, the episode left everyone perplexed. Unknown figure. For several days, a man heard strange sounds coming from the storage room of his shop until he decided to investigate. The beam of his flashlight cut through the darkness and revealed something bone-chilling. A strange figure, similar to a man, stood inside the room, staring directly at him. Terrified, he even tried to speak to the entity, which responded in a strange, robotic way. Perhaps it was a jinn or something even more disturbing. Have you ever experienced something scary in your life? Tell us in the comments below. Mysterious creature. About a year ago, two friends were relaxing on a beach in Thailand in the late afternoon when something sinister appeared out of nowhere and left them completely terrified. If this video gave you chills and left you full of questions, don't forget to leave a like. Your support helps the channel continue bringing terrifying encounters, unexplained apparitions, and mysteries that defy logic. Subscribe as well, and comment below what you think really appeared in these recordings: a ghost, a witch, an unknown creature, or something even more sinister.
Scary things caught on camera that will leave you genuinely unsettled. At first glance, it appears to be nothing more than a pale mass just beneath the surface of the water. Bloated, motionless, unnatural. Its vacant eyes stare forward, lifeless yet somehow aware. Moments later, a girl enters the same water, completely unaware of the massive shape looming behind her. She does not panic, she does not react. Is it because she cannot see it, or because it was never meant to be seen by the living at all? And if that thing is not moving, does that mean it is dead, or something far worse? In another clip, a shadowy figure appears deep in the background, barely visible yet impossible to ignore. The atmosphere is thick with tension. The figure does not rush or retreat, it simply stands there, watching. Whether it is a ghost, a presence, or something else entirely, the feeling it leaves behind is unmistakable. What do you think was hiding in the darkness? This next image shows a figure dressed entirely in black, standing silently beside a patient's hospital bed. The posture is rigid, the presence feels heavy. Many viewers immediately compared it to the Grim Reaper, the classic symbol of death looming over the ill. While skeptics argue it may simply be a visitor or staff member, the timing, stillness, and setting have left many questioning whether this was something more. One of the most disturbing clips comes from Huntsman Cancer Hospital. Shared by a former night shift worker, this footage circulated quietly among nurses and security staff for years. In the video, a woman appears in a hospital window late at night, seated in what looks like a wheelchair wrapped in a hospital blanket. The window overlooks a parking garage stairwell, making it appear as though she is hovering above the stairs. When security rushed outside, fearing she had jumped, she vanished without a trace. Staff later realized this figure had been seen many times before, sitting in empty rooms, staring out at the city lights, only to disappear when noticed. According to nurses, this was just one of several spirits believed to haunt the hospital. In another unsettling case, security cameras capture an empty play area late at night. No one is present, no movement detected, yet the sound of a child crying echoes through the space. What could cause something like that? A lingering spirit, residual energy, or something attempting to make itself known? Then there's the footage that defies easy explanation. A clock suddenly accelerates, time visibly speeding up before snapping back to normal. It happens more than once within minutes. No malfunctions were found, not a ghost perhaps, but undeniably strange. How would you explain it? Inside a church, a police officer stands frozen as an open doorway behind them leads into complete darkness. Not shadow, not poor lighting, just a void. The silence is oppressive. The darkness feels unnatural, as if something is waiting just beyond sight. The longer you look, the more unsettling it becomes. At Mexico's government palace, cameras captured a woman standing on a balcony late at night. According to officials, the room she emerged from was completely empty. No records, no access logs, no fingerprints, no evidence anyone had been there. Even the governor publicly admitted there was no logical explanation. Journalists were invited to investigate for themselves, and all of this unfolded while protests raged outside the building. Coincidence or distraction? In another clip, a man approaches a woman behaving strangely in a cemetery. She does not notice him until he is already there. What was she doing among the graves, alone and unaware?
¿De familiar suyo?
Sí, sí, sí.
Y por eso prende la negra aquí. No puede prender la negra, tenga la bondad de retirarse,
No, yo
por
no me
favor.
voy a retirar,
Retírese,
no me voy
por
a
favor,
retirar.
que me va a meter en
No.
problemas. Tenga la bondad.
No, no,
Retírese, venga, venga,
No.
venga,
Yo
retírese,
no
por
puedo,
favor.
¿qué?
Venga, tenga la bondad de irse. Tenga la bondad de irse y me da su nombre porque lo voy a poner por estado, por Facebook, para que se den cuenta qué es lo que vienen a hacer ustedes acá. Siempre pasa lo mismo aquí. Siempre pasa lo mismo con ustedes, que uno tiene que andarlas corriendo porque vienen a hacer algún tipo de mal. Miren, ve, aquí todos son velas blancas. Todas son velas blancas. Y ustedes siempre vienen a hacer lo que no tienen que hacer. Aquí es que le vienen haciendo tanto mal. Yo estoy cansado.
A viral video from São Tomé das Letras in Brazil appears to show a giant human face emerging from the mist on a distant hill. Experts later explained it as a zoom distortion combined with lighting conditions. But in a town already famous for legends, mysticism, and UFO sightings, many are still not convinced. Is she from the future, or is something deeply wrong? A woman seated on a train appears completely disconnected from reality. She calmly performs the motions of applying makeup, yet there is no mirror in her hand. Every movement is precise, as if an invisible object were guiding her. Witnesses were left stunned. How do you explain something like this? In another clip, a person wearing a bright yellow shirt with the word "smile" stands motionless in front of a crowd. In the foreground, someone reacts with visible discomfort, as if sensing something is off. The tension in the scene is undeniable, but the reason remains unclear. One of the most disturbing cases comes from Ponte Negra Beach in Manaus. During the early hours of the morning, municipal guard agents encountered a woman dressed entirely in white, sitting motionless at the water's edge. Part of her body was submerged, her head lowered, and she did not respond normally when spoken to. She mumbled incoherent phrases and claimed to have many names. The encounter took place around 3 a.m. on April 20th during a routine patrol near the SIE ramp. Believing the situation could have religious or psychological elements, the agents chose not to intervene physically and instead observed from a distance. Nearly an hour later, the woman was found again elsewhere on the shore. She insisted she was fine but had no memory of the earlier encounter, even after being shown the footage. She had visible bleeding on her legs, refused medical assistance, and later disappeared. To this day, her identity remains unknown. Another clip shows a lone figure walking along a dirt road late at night. The person filming continues recording despite the growing fear until the footage abruptly cuts out, leaving viewers to wonder what happened next. Inside a church, a man begins walking backwards unnaturally as a woman sits nearby watching. Without warning, he collapses, his body twisting and contorting in a way that is difficult to watch. The woman rushes to help as panic sets in. Was this a medical emergency or something far more disturbing? Security camera footage captures a person lying on a bed in a clip ominously titled "Terrifying Video When Pet is Dragged by a Demon." What happens next is exactly as disturbing as the caption suggests, and the footage offers no comforting explanation. In another video, soldiers stand side by side, but their movements seem wrong. They swivel and jerk as if controlled by invisible strings, bending and turning in ways that do not look human. The effect is unsettling and difficult to dismiss. Some clips are disturbing in quieter ways. In one, a woman's face appears subtly but unnervingly altered. Her nose in particular looks wrong, leaving viewers questioning whether this is a visual glitch, a medical condition, or something else entirely. Was this a glitch in the Matrix or a mechanical failure? A scooter suddenly accelerates on its own, crashing through obstacles like a guided missile. Thanks to nearby CCTV cameras, every second of the chaos was recorded. Watch this next clip carefully and decide for yourself. A person wearing an orange outfit runs down a street at night, talking and reacting to someone who's clearly not there. He seems completely unaware that he's alone, yet his behavior suggests an intense interaction with something unseen. Security camera footage inside a hair salon captures what appears to be a normal night. Chairs sit neatly arranged on a white floor, a person passes in the background. Then, without warning, something unexplainable happens. The camera records the exact moment the atmosphere shifts from ordinary to paranormal. This video claims to show a real-life skinwalker, allegedly captured on CCTV in Jackson County, South Carolina. According to the source, the footage shows what appears to be an elderly woman standing alone in a backyard late at night. At first, nothing seems out of the ordinary, but as the seconds pass, her body begins to change in a way that is difficult to explain. The figure appears to shift from the shape of a dog into a human form. What makes this even more unsettling is that she seems fully aware she is being recorded. There is no panic, no reaction. In fact, she appears calm, almost pleased as the transformation takes place. Moments later, she climbs the nearby tree with unnatural speed and coordination. If this footage is real, how do we explain something like this? Now, take a closer look at the people in the video. Is this normal human behavior? The women involved seem to find the situation amusing, even entertaining. They show no signs of physical distress, despite performing movements that should be extremely painful. Something feels wrong. Their eyes appear to glow under the camera's light, and their facial expressions do not match the actions they are performing. It almost gives the impression that these are not humans at all, but something else entirely, wearing human skin and attempting to blend in.
Has anything like this ever happened to you? One family believes they captured something chilling inside their own home. While watching the Super Bowl halftime show together, they noticed a strange figure lingering in the room with them. At first, it appears subtle, almost easy to miss, but as the performance continues, the presence becomes harder to ignore. Then, at the exact moment Kendrick Lamar says, "Turn the TV off," something unexpected happens on screen, leaving the family in shock. Next, we move to a bizarre creature sighting reported in Mexico. The man recording was driving when he suddenly stopped in the middle of the road. Whatever he saw forced him to slam on the brakes. Other people nearby began gathering, trying to understand what was happening. The creature appeared only briefly, but long enough to cause panic and confusion. Because the entire encounter happened so fast, only a quick glimpse was captured on camera before the figure retreated into the bushes and disappeared. This is not something you expect to see on an urban street during evening rush hour. No official explanation has been provided, and authorities have remained silent. Some footage is so disturbing that it needs no narration. It speaks for itself. Is this next clip real, or is it something far darker? The video claims to show a ritual taking place in the open. According to the person who recorded it, the gathering is a coven of witches in the middle of a ceremony. Figures are seen standing below, while 3 shadowy shapes appear above them, moving through the air on what look like broomsticks. As if that were not disturbing enough, a flaming pentagram can be seen hovering overhead, illuminating the scene and casting an eerie glow on everyone below. Look carefully at her reflection. It does not match the woman lying on the mat. The movements are off, delayed, and unnatural, as if the reflection belongs to something else entirely. You may be asking the same question everyone else is asking. Who was recording this, and what exactly was happening? In this next clip, the camera captures a peaceful scene near the water. Everything seems normal, until a hand slowly emerges from beneath the surface. Every second becomes more uncomfortable to watch. The person filming had no idea what was happening behind him. He was completely focused on a game on his phone, unaware of the danger just inches away. That is, until the hand grabbed him and began dragging him under. What caused this next reaction? Why was the dog behaving this way? The animal suddenly becomes frantic, barking and pulling away as if it sees something invisible to the camera. Whatever it was, it clearly terrified the dog, pushing it into a state of extreme agitation and fear. Finally, we have anonymous leaked footage that allegedly shows a Bigfoot being chased by a military helicopter. The video is shaky, distant, and difficult to verify, but the implications are disturbing. If this footage is real, it raises a serious question. How long has the government known about the existence of these creatures, and why has the truth been kept hidden?
Real encounters, unexplained footage, and moments that challenge what we think we know. Decide for yourself what is real and what should never have been seen. This is the realm where shadows move on their own and the unexplained refuses to stay hidden. From haunted locations to unsettling encounters caught on camera, these chilling clips blur the line between imagination and reality. Something deeply unsettling was hiding on that bridge. At first glance, it looks empty, ordinary, almost peaceful. Then you notice it. A disturbing figure standing just out of place, barely visible yet impossible to ignore. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. What was that shape, and why does it feel like it was watching whoever crossed that bridge? Now imagine being alone in the middle of the woods. No streetlights, no voices, only darkness stretching endlessly in every direction. From within that void emerges something that does not quite feel solid, a figure so black it seems to absorb all light around it. A living shadow standing still, staring directly back at you. The most terrifying detail is not its shape, but its eyes, unnatural, piercing, and intelligent. Those eyes track every movement you make, as if reading your thoughts, locking on to your fear. What would you do if you realized you were not alone out there? Some believe dolls are nothing more than innocent toys, harmless companions from childhood. Others insist they are vessels for something far more sinister. After seeing these disturbing captures, that debate becomes much harder to dismiss. Vacant, glassy eyes that seem to follow you across the room, unnatural smiles frozen in place, dolls that appear to change position when no one is watching. The longer you look, the stronger the feeling becomes that they are aware of your presence. After witnessing these moments, do you still believe it is just superstition, or are you beginning to think the legends might be rooted in something real? A group of soldiers stationed near the edge of a river recorded footage that continues to baffle viewers. The focus quickly shifts to a woman dressed entirely in red, standing unnaturally close to the water. She appears calm, silent, and completely out of place. Stories of the woman in red exist across cultures, passed down in whispers for generations. She is often seen at rivers, bridges, or roadsides, always marked by a flash of crimson. Witnesses report sudden drops in temperature, an overwhelming sense of being watched, and the sound of water moving even when the river is perfectly still. Some say she was a bride betrayed and drowned on her wedding night. Others believe she was a grieving mother searching endlessly for a lost child. Darker legends claim she was never human at all, but something ancient, drawn to sorrow and tragedy. Claims of skinwalkers caught on camera are among the most controversial topics in paranormal circles. According to Navajo legend, a skinwalker is a witch capable of shape-shifting into animals through dark rituals. Out of respect, many Navajo people avoid speaking about them openly. Online videos often sensationalize or misrepresent these beliefs, and there is no verified or scientifically accepted evidence proving skinwalkers exist or have ever been captured on camera. Still, countless clips continue to circulate online, showing distorted figures, uncanny human behavior, and animals acting in ways that feel deeply wrong. Whether these videos are misinterpretations, hoaxes, or something else entirely remains a subject of intense debate. Many of the most unsettling encounters happen at night. Recorded on security cameras, ghost hunting equipment, or personal devices, these clips range from mildly creepy to absolutely terrifying. One classic horror scenario involves cult-like figures in the woods. In one recording, a group driving through a forest road encounters masked individuals emerging from the darkness. The group surrounds the car, closing in silently. Fear escalates as a woman stands directly outside the vehicle, staring in through the window with a cold, unblinking glare. Her expression alone is enough to make your skin crawl. There is no shouting, no explanation, only the overwhelming sense that something is very wrong. In another clip, dogs begin reacting aggressively to something unseen. They growl, bark, and fixate on a specific area, yet the camera shows almost nothing. Only a blurred outline can be made out, vaguely human in shape. Strangely, it casts no shadow and does not appear to have a solid physical form. If animals can sense what we cannot, what exactly were they reacting to? One of the most disturbing stories involves a group performing a ritual near a graveyard. Nearby, they encounter a young girl standing alone. When asked where she came from, she silently points toward the graveyard. When asked if her parents know she is there, she points to the graves again. The image shows a dark cemetery, headstones barely visible, and a small figure in a white dress standing against the shadows. The atmosphere alone is enough to send chills down your spine. The aftermath of a Ouija session is captured in another haunting image. The room is dimly lit, containing a pedestal fan, a cluttered table, and a television glowing faintly in the background. At first, nothing seems unusual. Then viewers notice it. Above the scene, a faint ghostly face or figure appears, barely visible yet unmistakable. Whether it's a trick of the light or something summoned during the session is left unanswered. They were just passing by when they noticed something that made them stop in their tracks. Down a steep incline, a woman in a long white dress was slowly climbing her way downward. She appeared to struggle with every step, moving in an unnatural and unsettling way, yet no one went to help her. The camera kept recording as she continued her descent. Some who have seen this footage believe it could be the ghost of the legendary crying woman, forever wandering and searching, doomed to repeat her sorrowful path. Standing right beside them is a small figure that no one noticed at the time. It appears to be a child, smiling directly at the camera. The child seems to be either waving or holding something in its hand. The fact that no one saw this figure while the photo was taken makes the image deeply unsettling. Once you notice it, you cannot unsee it. This footage was captured inside a warehouse after it had already closed for the night. The building was supposed to be completely empty, yet hidden behind stacks of wooden pallets, a small figure can be seen peeking out. It looks like a little girl, crouched low as if she doesn't want to be seen. The silence of the empty warehouse makes the sight even more disturbing. Why would a child be there, and how long had she been watching? During a live news report filmed inside a cemetery, something truly bizarre happens. The reporter continues speaking, completely unaware of what is unfolding behind her. Just over her left shoulder, a transparent figure suddenly runs past in the background. The camera captures it clearly, yet the reporter never reacts. Viewers only noticed it afterwards, replaying the clip and realizing they had witnessed what appears to be a ghostly figure moving at full speed among the graves. This final image was taken in a quiet hospital corridor late at night. A wheelchair sits alone in the hallway, seemingly abandoned. But there's a chilling detail many people miss at first. Look closely at the reflection on the polished floor. You can see what appears to be hands holding the wheelchair, as if someone invisible is guiding it forward. No one else was present when the photo was taken. The idea of an unseen presence moving through the hospital makes this image especially disturbing and difficult to explain. We delve into chilling encounters, eerie coincidences, and true stories that seem to defy logic and reason. These are the moments that make people stop, rewind, and question what they are really seeing. In one of the most terrifying clips, a nurse is suddenly yanked across the floor by an invisible force. The camera captures her body sliding violently as if grabbed by something incredibly strong. Her arms reach out desperately, trying to latch on to anything nearby, but there is nothing to hold on to. A nearby witness freezes in shock, staring in disbelief before panic takes over and they flee the scene. Investigators later confirmed there was nothing visible that could explain what happened. A young woman wearing a white hoodie with the word Massachusetts printed across the front stands calmly, unaware of what is happening behind her. In the window, a face appears, pale, distorted, and watching her closely. She never turns around. She never reacts. The figure lingers just long enough to be noticed by the camera before fading away. In another unsettling moment, a woman sets up her camera to record a video for social media. She is alone in the house, or at least she believes she is. As she speaks to the camera, a figure can be seen moving silently behind her. It appears briefly, then vanishes from view. There is no one else supposed to be inside the home. The question remains unanswered. Who or what was standing behind her?
Y 1, 2, 3. Hacemos 3 laterales. Igual mi compañera. 1.
Something unsettling unfolds as a group of people sit casually around a table covered with cups, plates, and leftover food. One person appears to be adjusting someone else's hair, an ordinary gesture at first glance. But then, movement begins behind them, subtle at first, then unmistakable. Shadows shift where no one should be standing, and the atmosphere changes instantly. Whatever moved was not part of the group. Next, take a close look at this strange formation drifting through the air. Is it really a cloud? It looks soft like cotton, yet hollow, almost structured, floating freely and glowing faintly as it moves. It does not behave like mist or smoke. It glides with purpose. The strangest part is that no one thought to collect a sample or get closer. Was it fear or an instinctive sense that it should not be touched? Now focus on something much smaller, yet just as disturbing. A soda can sits on a desk. Nothing seems unusual at first. Then the can shifts slightly on its own. No vibration, no visible cause, just movement where there should be none. This black and white security camera footage shows a quiet bedroom late at night. A person lies motionless in bed, completely covered by a blanket pulled over their head. Everything feels still. Then, something changes. The blanket begins to rise and shift as if something underneath is moving independently of the person. What happens next is the reason this clip has terrified so many viewers. A young man enters a university bathroom after hearing strange noises echoing through the halls. Universities are known for their old buildings and unsettling legends, but this goes beyond rumor. As he approaches the doorway, the camera captures a dark figure wedged unnaturally between the doorframe. It does not move like a person. It does not react like one either. The next clip is truly bizarre. Severe flooding is shown as water rushes violently down a street, carrying rocks and debris as if pulled by an invisible force. What makes this scene disturbing is the rain itself. It is only falling in specific areas, leaving other sections completely dry. Some believe it is an unnatural weather event. Others whisper about manipulation, witchcraft, or something far more sinister. In another video, a person stands motionless in the ocean with arms stretched outward, wearing a white garment that resembles a robe or toga. The figure appears almost unreal, as if detached from the physical world. Some viewers believe it is a staged or humorous moment. Others are convinced they are looking at a ghostly apparition rising from the sea. This next clip leaves many speechless. Watch closely as a woman twists and contorts her neck in a way that seems anatomically impossible. There is no sign of pain, no struggle, just fluid, unnatural movement. Decide for yourself whether this should be humanly possible. A cleaning cart sits abandoned against the wall in a flooded hospital late at night. Nurse Elena was working alone as the power flickered and the hallways fell into shadow. A security camera later revealed two figures running through the corridor, one appearing to carry a weapon. Elena heard a scream and rushed toward the sound, but found no one there. Instead, an icy chill filled the air, and she heard her name whispered softly. The smell of salt water grew stronger. At the end of the hallway, under flickering lights, stood the same shrouded figure seen in the ocean footage. Another figure was caught walking alone down a street late at night. Witnesses say it is better to ignore it, but sometimes curiosity takes over. The background glows with a dark, fiery effect that makes the scene feel unreal. Look closely at the recliner chairs nearby. Something feels staged, yet deeply wrong. Watch carefully. A hand rests on her waist, but no one should be standing there. Whose hand was it?
Is this a rare glimpse of the elusive Skinwalker, or something even more disturbing?
The footage invites endless speculation. The figure's shape is unclear, shifting between light and shadow in a way that suggests both human and animal features. At moments, it appears upright, then suddenly closer to the ground as if moving on all fours. The surrounding area is dimly lit, possibly a quiet road or open space, with faint silhouettes in the background. In another clip, something even more bizarre unfolds inside a quiet home. Without any visible force or explanation, an object begins to glide smoothly across a hardwood floor. There's no sound of footsteps, no sign of strings or wind. It continues moving in a straight line, almost deliberately, as if guided by an unseen presence. After several seconds, it stops in the center of the room and remains completely still. The silence is absolute. The lights never flicker and nothing else moves, making the moment even more unsettling. Home CCTV footage captures a shadowy woman wearing a long dress pacing back and forth across a front lawn late at night. The homeowner insists no one else was outside, and he has no explanation for who she was or why she appeared there. What makes the sight even more disturbing is her clothing. She seems to be wearing a Victorian-era dress, heavy and restrictive, the kind that would be difficult to walk in even during the day. Yet she moves steadily across uneven grass, in darkness, as if unaffected by time or terrain. Another video shows a strange glowing sphere drifting silently between rows of parked cars. It hovers just inches above the ground, pulsing with a pale, flickering light. The object moves slowly and unpredictably, changing direction as though responding to something unseen. There is no sound, no storm, and no visible electrical source nearby. Moments later, the light fades and vanishes completely, leaving no trace behind. Despite the grainy quality of the footage, it clearly captures something that does not behave like any ordinary light source. On the outskirts of a quiet desert town, locals claim a restless spirit still roams the area. They say she appears between the trees at midnight, draped in torn, weathered robes, searching endlessly for something she lost long ago. A photograph taken near a lonely street lamp captures what appears to be her ghostly form, faintly illuminated by an unnatural glow. Some believe it is a tragic soul unable to move on. Others believe it is a normal
way
What do
until
you see
something impossible happens. Whether real witches caught on camera or creatures emerging in the darkness of the night, each scene ends in a way no one expects. Two witch hunters traveled to the remote interior of Mexico after reports of black magic. Curious and determined to uncover the truth, they began investigating the surroundings of a small village. In forest-covered hills, they found something unexpected, a cabin hidden on the slope, almost invisible. Upon entering, they discovered a doll tied up and surrounded by star-shaped candles representing the devil. It became clear they had interrupted a witchcraft ritual. The atmosphere intensified when someone, possibly responsible, appeared peering through the window before disappearing. In another night, two men were walking through a dark forest when they saw a mask hanging from a thin tree trunk. As soon as they picked it up and moved on, a stranger wearing a similar mask suddenly appeared and began to chase them. In the middle of the forest, in the dark, who would dare find out whether it was a robbery, a prank, or something far more frightening? In another region, two young farmers heard strange echoes near their fields and decided to investigate. They ended up finding two small and bizarre beings that resembled dwarfs with long dark hair, black skin, and clothing. As soon as they were noticed, the creatures began to growl and chase them, leaving doubts as to whether they were human or something supernatural. In January 2015, at the Parnell railway station in New Zealand, a group of film students experienced a disturbing episode. While they were near the location, they noticed a masked couple staring at them from the middle of tall grass. At first, they thought it was just a prank, but soon realized the two were armed. A sense of terror took over, and the students recorded video of the couple slowly advancing toward them. In China, an explorer came across an unbelievable scene.
Dozens of people, apparently from a tribe or local community, were standing motionless, as if petrified in the middle of a cultural or spiritual ceremony. To this day, no one knows how that happened. And then there is the story of Juanita. She was enjoying a peaceful afternoon on her property with family and friends when she spotted a group performing what appeared to be a dark ritual. As fear took hold of everyone present, Juanita bravely stood up and ordered the witches to stop in the name of the Holy Spirit. To everyone's astonishment, she ran toward the shadowy figures and managed to knock one of them down, forcing the others to flee. It is unclear whether it was truly a witch or simply a young woman possessed. Two men decided to explore an abandoned farm near the forest. When they believed the place was empty, they were surprised by a wandering figure. At first, it only revealed its presence. Then it began to slowly chase them, forcing them to flee. No one knows for certain the nature or intentions of this being, but it was clear it did not want intruders in its territory. One night, a farmer was heading to his fields when he noticed something strange in the bushes. At first glance, he thought it was just a piece of fabric caught on a branch, but soon realized it had the shape of a motionless person. The scene was so disturbing that he pulled out his phone and filmed it. Later, when he showed the video to friends, they all said it resembled a Pocong, the ghost from Indonesian folklore wrapped in a burial shroud. In another occasion, a group of boys were enjoying themselves on a trip when something terrifying happened. Amid laughter and jokes, one of them noticed two eyes glowing, watching them in the darkness. When they turned on a flashlight, they discovered they were not alone. Several figures resembling skinwalkers surrounded them. One clung to a branch, another crawled silently through the brush, one perched in a tree, and another stared fixedly at them. Terrified but determined to defend themselves, the boys grabbed whatever they had on hand, nets, sticks, and ropes, to confront what was approaching. In another recording known as the Zombie Vlogger, a channel called Alan Tutorial showed a video recorded by an anonymous source. In it, a man with scratched and infected skin, long nails, and a grotesque appearance ran through the forest, knocking down trees as if he were transforming into a zombie. With no visible clothing, only marked skin and uncontrolled movements, it was clear that anyone nearby would be in serious danger. During a camping trip, a group of young people noticed something strange circling their sight. When they returned from a walk, they noticed the presence of a crawling creature inside the camp. Panic set in immediately, and the escape only intensified when they realized the entity was actually chasing them for some time. Among the most enigmatic encounters is that of a driver traveling along a rural road who filmed a tall, thin figure standing in the middle of a field beneath power lines. The being had disproportionate arms and legs, no defined face, and simply stared at the sky. Locals claim it was not the first time something strange had been seen near that place. Was it observing or waiting for something? In 2022, tourists exploring the entrance of Veracofkina Cave recorded a disturbing scene, a humanoid figure sitting cross-legged in front of the narrow opening. At first glance, it appeared human, but the strangeness of the scene made it clear there was something beyond the normal. Its skeletal form and unsettling stillness set it apart from anything natural. The eerie silence and lifeless posture led some to believe it could be a spirit or an energy tied to the cave itself. Since there had never been similar reports, others speculated it might be a guardian or silent sentinel of the depths. In 2016, in a remote village in India, a girl was found under mysterious circumstances. Unlike typical ghost stories, she appeared completely normal, pale-skinned, dressed in white, and able to converse with those who found her. Her sudden presence intrigued the villagers. Some believed she may have come from another region, but no missing child reports matched her description. Others whispered darker theories that she was not a lost girl, but a spirit bound to the forest, unable to move on. With no clear answers, she remained an unsettling enigma between the world of the living and the unknown. terror is not always found in ghosts. Two friends on their way to a fishing trip found an enormous skin in the middle of the path. It wasn't just the length of the skin, but also the width of the skin that made it clear the animal was gigantic. Fearing an encounter with the creature that left it behind, the two abandoned the trip and turned back, certain no one would want to be swallowed by something so colossal. In Canada, a driver encountered an inexplicable scene on a deserted road at midnight. A strange creature was walking a few meters ahead of the car. Its body reminded him of a boar, but its wide neck had black and white stripes like those of a zebra. Most disturbing of all, it carried a wild feline of similar size in its tusks, radiating an aura of extreme danger. Despite knowing the route well, the driver was stunned, unable to comprehend what he had seen. In remote mountainous regions, a researcher found rock formations that seemed too detailed to be the result of erosion. Faces and limbs carved in the stone led him to consider ancient alternative theories that associated these forms with the Nephilim, the giants mentioned in the Book of Enoch. According to these views, they may have been petrified by ancient cataclysms, either through divine punishment or forgotten technologies. So those mountains could not be merely geological formations, but the fossilized remains of a race that existed before the flood, remnants of a humanity lost in cycles of destruction and rebirth. And then there's the story of Juanita. She was enjoying a peaceful afternoon on her property with family and friends when she spotted a group performing what appeared to be a dark ritual. As fear took hold of everyone present, Juanita bravely stood up and ordered the witches to stop in the name of the Holy Spirit. To everyone's astonishment, she ran toward the shadowy figures and managed to knock one of them down, forcing the others to flee. It is unclear whether it was truly a witch or simply a young woman possessed. Two men decided to explore an abandoned farm near the forest. When they believed the place was empty, they were surprised by a wandering figure. At first, it only revealed its presence, then it began to slowly chase them, forcing them to flee. No one knows for certain the nature or intentions of this being, but it was clear it did not want intruders in its territory. One night, a farmer was heading to his fields when he noticed something strange in the bushes. At first glance, he thought it was just a piece of fabric caught on a branch, but soon realized it had the shape of a motionless person. The scene was so disturbing that he pulled out his phone and filmed it. Later, when he showed the video to friends, they all said it resembled a Pocong, the ghost from Indonesian folklore wrapped in a burial shroud.